Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. Monday review, looking back at Tranmere on Saturday. Another decent performance on the whole, it seems, but frustratingly, 2 more points dropped is the only way you can analyse it after being 2-0 up with 67 minutes on the clock. No newspaper to work from this week, so just a few things that I'm effectively thinking out loud about. I tweeted immediately after the game on Saturday that we're scoring 1.83 goals per game in the league. So I think this notion, this opinion that plenty of fans have built up that we're desperate for a striker to replace Tom Eaves is a little bit of a myth. I did discuss it with Boz on Thursday on the match preview, and I said I thought that too many of us have become a bit obsessed with it, like I say, and unfortunately it seemed I was proved right on Saturday, because again, going forward, it seems that at Prenton Park we were a massive threat. We created plenty, scored 2 decent enough goals. And yeah, I think any team that's going along at nearly 2 a game is going to clearly be doing something right in the final third and in offensive areas. But I was more concerned last week, and still am, that it's at the other end that we're causing ourselves an issue. And yeah, another lapse in concentration means that we've ended up drawing a game that perhaps we should have won. As I say, I tweeted on Saturday immediately after the game and said that we played 6 league games this season. We've been 1-0 up in 5 of them. We've been 2-0 up in 3 of them. And yet we've only managed to win a solitary game against Bolton a week ago last Saturday. And I said we could invariably be sitting here with 10 points instead of 6. Yeah, obviously we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, because the longer this type of thing keeps happening, then the more it becomes a habit, and then the harder it becomes to shift. Like people say that winning becomes a habit. It's the same the other way. So yeah, really, really frustrating. And the weird thing is, it's not like we're being bossed in games or we're defending badly for the entirety of these fixtures, because looking through on social media, a few different websites, Twitter pages, vlogs, podcasts, Jack Bonham, Max Amar, Alfie Jones, all in multiple teams of the week, D3, D4, just having a quick look, whoscored.com, the FL92's team of the week, SofaScore, that's 4 different websites or Twitter pages, like I say, and all 3 of them, so that's a goalkeeper, defensive midfielder and a centre-back, were all named at least twice. So it's clear that we're not being poor defensively for the entirety of these games. It's just that we're having these periods where for one reason or another we switch off and allow teams back into games. I think Saturday was the first time this season that we've conceded in the second half in the league. So yeah, makes the frustration even bigger, I'd imagine, because 2-0 up at the break, 2-0 up after an hour, you'd think we'd have enough about us to manage the game properly and get ourselves over the line, and that would have set us up really well for a big week ahead, but it wasn't to be. We have to take the positives out of it. Like I say, I think there are plenty again. One would be Alex Jakubiak's 4th league goal of the season. This is a lad who arrived in the summer, and a lot of Gills fans were a little bit underwhelmed. Maybe again because we're obviously doing what we did when Tom Eaves arrived, and we compared him to Cody McDonald, and now we're comparing everyone to Tom Eaves. And Alex Jakubiak had only scored 2 goals in 38 games for Bristol Rovers last season. But if you delved a little deeper into his statistics, I think he only played on average about 40 minutes per game. He was used from the bench a lot. Whether he was used through the middle all the time is another one that we need to look at. I'm not sure, obviously, entirely. But yeah, he's playing regularly. He's playing in his best position, and we're benefiting from that. A typical number 9 type of goal, old-fashioned poacher's goal, fox in the box type of finish, was alert to Max Amar's header down into a dangerous area, flicked it in from no more than a yard or 2, which is a proper striker's goal, like I say. And the longer he continues that form, the better. And yeah, 4 for the season already, so that form cannot be sniffed at at all. But yeah, back to these funny 5 minutes we keep having. Burton at home, 1-0 up after 6 or 7 minutes, then sat off, were really poor for the rest of the game, granted. Allowed Burton to score 41st and 44th minute, I think. Blackpool at home, 2-0 up after 41 minutes, going at half-time at 2-2. Tranmere this Saturday, 2-0 up. Jack Bonham saves a penalty. Then we concede from the corner, frustratingly. That's in the 67th minute. 70th minute is 2 each. 1 comes 2 seems to be the sentiment at the moment. And obviously the quicker we can sort that out, the quicker we'll start moving up the Sky Bet League One table. And it is frustrating because, like I say, from what I've seen of us this season, I think I've only missed 3 games. Doncaster, first day of the season, really, really good right up until the Donny goal. And then second half, they penned us back in, but we done well to dig out a point. Burton took the lead early, but then the performance was awfully flat, awfully lethargic, and was probably our worst of the season that I've seen. Blackpool I missed, but speaking to Stocky and Boz, who did the match day live, really, really good, really vibrant, quick and incisive and on the front foot, and had a real go even at 2-2. Seen corner after corner after corner at the end of that game, and it was like the Alamo. We just couldn't pinch that third goal. Newport in the League Cup created plenty, but shot ourselves in the foot defensively again, gave away a penalty late on. Colchester in the Leasings.com trophy, same sort of thing. Looked a threat moving forwards, but I think they had 4 or 5 shots, Cole, and they scored 3 of them because we switched off at the back. Coventry wasn't great by all accounts away from home. I didn't go to that one. But yeah, had a real go second half. And then obviously Saturday, 2-0 up at the break, 2-0 up with 60 minutes played. You'd back us to see it out. It's not like we've got a squad full of poor players. There's some that probably need to get up to speed a little bit in terms of fitness. The likes of Ben Pringle, who by all accounts had a decent enough debut before tiring, was involved in the second goal, which was Alfie Jones's first for the club. Yeah, it's just fine lines, isn't it, at any level of football. And if you keep coming out on the wrong side of them, especially when it's self-inflicted, then obviously it's going to hinder your progress. But we have to bear in mind on the positive side that this is a brand new group. I know Steve Evans has alluded to that. And I'm not one that's going to sit here and defend Stephen Evans for the sake of it, because I wasn't a big fan of him coming in at all when it was first announced back end of last season that it was rumoured that he'd been to games, and whether he'd been scouting for someone else or not, it didn't sit well with me for one reason or another. And you can look back through this vlog and listen to me talk and Stocky talk and Boz talk as well. He was never the number 1 choice for us, but I'm not going to sit here and dig Steve Evans out for the sake of it, because that's pointless. Doesn't achieve anything, doesn't help anybody. He's brought in a lot of players. That's how he operates. He's got his own team in. So, number 1, we can't accuse him of, or anyone of, not having his own squad, because he's put his own stamp on it. But that is going to take time. That's not going to be instant. You think if the team that started on Saturday, Jack Bonham's a new signing, Thomas O'Connor's very young, he's a new signing, Alfie Jones a new signing, Ollie Lee's a new signing, Ali Jakubiak's a new signing, Michael Mandron's a new signing, other players that have played this season, Mark Marshall, Matty Willock, Stuart O'Keefe, Hussein Cisse, Lee Hodson. There's plenty. I think we're up to 13 or 14 new additions since the start of the summer, so that's not going to be instant. But I think Steve Evans is right. We are getting there. And we could, like I say already, invariably sitting here with 2 more wins. And then we're sat nicely in the top half of the table. It's a really good start to the season. But we're not, because we switch off. And we concede goals in clusters, it seems, at the moment. Beginning of the season, we was conceding them late on in halves. Now we seem to be conceding 2 in a few minutes. But I'm confident that if with games and with more minutes together, that will stop. And then, obviously, we seem to have enough at the moment about us going forward to create plenty of chances and score plenty of goals. Had a little discussion with James from D3, D4 podcast this morning on Twitter, and I said, obviously, it's a really good podcast and I listen to it religiously. But I thought his comments on his podcast this week were slightly lazy, in the respect that, it's Steve Evans and he's not had a good start, blah, 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 blah. And James defended himself, which is fine, and said he wasn't digging out Steve Evans, just said that he needed a good start because he is quite a divisive character. But I just thought that they were using the Steve Evans thing as an easy option, slightly. But that's what the game's all about. It's about different opinions. And And I said, well, instead of sitting here saying, oh, we've only beat Bolton, why not sit there and say, oh, well, if Gillingham had held on and taken maximum points off of Blackpool and Tranmere when they were 2-0 up, then they'd be sitting in the top half and looking at the playoffs. So, again, it comes back to fine lines. And I don't think we're a million miles away. Obviously, the concern would be that if we stop scoring and we continue to ship goals at the other end, then obviously we're going to stay near the bottom half of the table. But I think there's more than enough in this Gillingham squad for that to not continue to happen. Like I say, Alex Jakubiak's up to 4 goals. Brandon Hanlon's pinched a couple this season already, despite not being at his best and learning a new role. Started the campaign when he was playing as a lone striker. Mikael Mandron, 2 starts, 1 goal. Mikael and Jolly's pinched a goal. A couple of assists as well, I think. So, Ollie Lee, once he's up to full speed, will be a massive addition, I think. Ben Pringle, exactly the same. He's going to have balance, left-footed, but can use his right foot. So it's going to be another one that's going to be a creative influence, whether he's playing from the wide areas or whether we're playing from the left-hand side of a diamond. Gives us loads of options. So I think once all these players are up to full capacity in terms of match fitness, then I think we'll start being rewarded. But we have to stick with the team, which is what I've always said ever since Steve Evans came in. I'll support the team, regardless of my previous thoughts on Steve. But like I say, I've not seen too much untoward from Mr. Evans since he's taken over. He seems to have said all the right things and done all the right things, and maybe he's just aware that he's got to do that, and maybe it is some massive PR stunt and charm offensive, but that's fine. Ultimately, he'll be judged on winning football matches, and we do need to start winning, and we do need to start winning pretty quickly. But I don't think we're too far away. And like anything, if we can win one and get ourselves over the line in a game, then all the players will go, yeah, we can do it, and then it might happen. And again, then that's that thing about habit and momentum, and then we might be able to do it again and again. And suddenly, if we can pinch 2 or 3 wins in the next 5, half a dozen games, then we're going to be sat obviously a lot higher up the table. But yeah, one player quickly in focus this week. It's not an offensive player. It's a player that had a very good game at the weekend and probably felt very hard done by to come out with only a point. And that is this man coming up on your screen. That is our goalkeeper, our new number 1, Jack Bonham, who obviously came with really good pedigree when he arrived in the summer from Brentford upon his release. He had a very good campaign at Bristol Rovers last season in this division. And yeah, was very confident that he'd be a more than able replacement for the departed Thomas Holy. Watched him a few times, thought he was a bit quiet for a keeper. Didn't think he was commanding his back four as much as I'd like. But that may be just in his nature. Some people are louder than others, that's fine. But yeah, Saturday it seems was really, really good. And looking at his stats on SofaScore, played the full 90 minutes, made 6 saves, 3 from inside the box, one of which was a penalty. His second penalty save of the season as well. 2 successful punches, 2 clearances. Seems he had a really, really good game. And I think if we can sort out these issues in front of him and give him a little bit more protection, because let's be honest, the first goal at the weekend is schoolboy defensively from us. There's ample opportunity to hack it clear, punt it out for another corner, punt it out for a throw-in, just bang it somewhere up the pitch, but we don't. We get punished, and then unfortunately 180 seconds later we get punished again, but through no fault of Jack Bonham, because he makes a wonderful penalty save. He then makes a really good save from that resultant corner, and then unfortunately those in front of him don't help him out at all. But yeah, there's been some really good moments from Jack Bonham so far, and I think the more of them he has, the more confident he'll become, and I have every faith that he'll be a very good goalkeeper for Gillingham this season. So obviously we don't want him to be making too many saves, because that means we're under the cosh. But yeah, it's nice to have someone behind that back 4 or back 3 or back 5 or whatever we play that will instill confidence, and I think Jack Bonham will be the man. And obviously the better he plays, the more confident he becomes, and then the more confident those in front of him become. Yeah, that's probably it from me tonight. Not a massively long one. Hopefully be back Thursday with Boz and or Stocky to have a look back through the week. No midweek fixture this week. But from Saturday we do have a busy 7 days in Sky Bet League 1. And then after Thursday with the match preview, looking ahead to top of the table Wycombe Wanderers. And maybe even a signing to talk about, you never know. We shall be back Saturday with what promises to be a decent match day live. Like I say, Wycombe arrive in town at the summit of League One at the moment, put Lincoln City to the sword this past Saturday. And yeah, what turned out to be Danny Cowley's last game in charge of the Imps, because he's today taken the job along with his brother Nicky at Championship outfit Huddersfield. So we wish the Cowley brothers all the best. I think they will be missed in League One, but they more than deserve their chance. But yeah, I think in terms of a result of the week, I would go for that Wycombe Wanderers performance against a previously very good Lincoln. And it's credit to Gareth Ainsworth that in the week leading up to the game changed the way they played to counteract Cowley's men. And let's be honest, their game plan panned out to perfection. And I've forgotten his name, which is a little bit annoying, but their left back scored a hat-trick of set pieces, which you don't see a great deal of, especially when two of them were direct from corners. So yeah, my result of the week this week is Wycombe Wanderers 3, Lincoln 1. A refereeing decision in there that simply needs looking at, because two players were flat out with serious head injuries, it looked like, in the lead up to the Lincoln goal. And thankfully both were okay, but yeah, not the best piece of officiating from the man in the middle in that game. And I'm pretty sure the EFL will be looking at it. Probably won't do anything, some might say, but that's for another day. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me rabbit on. You know where we are on all the socials. And until next time, up the Gills.